Greetings from Kenwa. Today is Wednesday, May 1st, 2024. Before we get into my talk on March 6th, I have a really neat story to tell you. Darlene, as I love to say, the love of my life, and myself, we were in Cuba from February 16th to March the 1st. And we had an amazing time. Well, when we got back, Darlene asked, what do I want to do for my birthday? And I said, I want to go back and to Cuba. And Darlene says, well, it's your 70th birthday. Why do we want to go back to a place that we've been so many times? Let's try a different island. So we started looking at Antigua. And there was a resort that one of my friends had been at recently and they loved it. So we looked at it. And for 1 week, it was going to cost $10,000. And I said to Darlene, I am not worth $10,000. So she said, fine, we'll go back to Cuba. Well, a couple days after we got back, Darlene was on one of her Facebook groups and she saw something really interesting. One of the women said, I just received my voucher for $600. And she said anyone who was on the flight coming back from Cuba on March the 1st was eligible for a $600 voucher. Wow. So Darlene goes on, sure enough, clicked on it, within a minute we got it. So we received $1,200 for the two of us. It was great. So what I did, I upgraded my seats, or our seats, to Elite Plus, and then with the $1,200 that we put on it, the total price was $510. That was incredible. Well, this is a special time because we're celebrating my 70th birthday. It's funny, when I look in the mirror, I think, yeah, I definitely look 70 years old. And, but Darlene, she looks eternally young. Well, one of the neat things that just happened yesterday is that, as you see this little certificate to my right, my friend Justin Trudeau sent me, along with thousands of other people, congratulations. And this, of course, congratulations on my 70th birthday. This was really, really neat when I got that certificate, and I'm going to frame it. Well, today I'm going to conclude March 6th by looking at the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000 that is found in Mark 6, verses 30 to 44. And I'm going to look at it in just a little bit different way. Now, the miracle of the 5,000 is the only miracle that is mentioned in all four Gospels, beside the Passion and the Resurrection. Well, instead of looking at the details of the miracle, I want to tell you how this miracle shows that the Gospel of Mark, along with all the other Gospels, shows that they were written by eyewitnesses. The account of the feeding of the 5,000 demonstrates the historicity of the four Gospels, since it takes all four Gospels for us to get the complete picture of everything that happened. Now, many of you will remember the TV show The A-Team. One of the famous lines from Hannibal Smith was, I love it when a plan comes together. Well, here, God is showing us how wonderfully He brings the Gospels together to tell the full story of the feeding of the 5,000. I want to show you some little nuances in the story of the feeding of the 5,000 that you may never have thought of before. Let me start by looking at an interesting statement that is found in Mark 6:31. Then, because so many people were coming and going, that they did not even have a chance to eat. Have you ever thought about why so many people were coming and going? It is a very interesting thing to say, and I'm sure that almost every one of you has read this and never thought twice about it. Here Mark doesn't give us an explanation, but look at the account of the feeding of the 5,000 in John 6. John 6 verse 4 says, the Jewish Passover festival was near. Once again, how are these two verses related to each other? Well, the historian Josephus tells us that approximately 3 million people every year headed to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover. And as just mentioned, we know that the Passover was just about to begin when Jesus was here in Bethsaida feeding the 5,000. Here you have all these people who were heading to Jerusalem, and a very large number of them would be passing through Bethsaida on their way to Jerusalem. I am sure that a whole lot of these people had heard of Jesus, and a lot of them wanted to drop by and hear what Jesus was saying before they continued on their journey. It makes a lot of sense that many people came to listen to Jesus for a short time and then continued on their journey to Jerusalem. Hence, there would have been hundreds of people coming and going. Isn't it amazing how everything fits together in the Gospels? Then we have in John 6 verse 5, just a little thing. Jesus said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for all these people to eat?" Even though Jesus knew what he was going to do, the reason he asked Philip was that we know from John 1:44 that Philip was from Bethsaida. Hence, Philip would know where to buy bread. It's just a little thing, but once again, it shows that these were real people in real time. Now, perhaps the most astounding aspect of the feeding of the 5,000 pertains to grass. Yes, indeed, grass. It is the account of the grass that really brings up the fact that the writers of the Gospels were eyewitnesses to the event. I hope I have your curiosity. Here are 3 verses from the feeding of the 5,000. Matthew 14:19. And he, being Jesus, directed the people to sit down on the grass. Then, John 6 verse 10. Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." There was plenty of grass in that place, and they sat down. About 5,000 men were there. Then here in Mark 6 verse 39, then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So why is grass, and especially green grass, significant to a factual account of the story? Well, I will tell you. We just established that this event was just before the Passover. The Passover always occurs in the spring. In the region of Bethsaida, the grass is only green in the springtime after the winter rains. There would have needed to be quite a lot of green grass to make Mark's statement true. And if you look over here, here is a picture of the grass in Bethsaida at that time of year. So these verses, they are telling us that these Gospels were indeed written by eyewitnesses, since such small, seemingly uneventful events are mentioned. And here it shows that they were indeed eyewitnesses to the event. I hope you have learned something interesting from my video. May the good Lord be with you until we meet again.